Hello and welcome back to coverage of the Season 2 Apex Invitational. I'm Tandy. You are?
Miriam.
Yeah, say hi.
Hi.
It wasn't as good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just walks you right into a brick wall.
I do that pretty well myself. I don't need any help.
All right, we got 6 rounds in the books. We got the 7th round coming up right now. We have a couple draws. You want to give us a breakdown of what's happened so far at the beginning of this round so we know what to expect for the top 8?
Yeah, so our top 3 tables have elected to take a draw. We do have a few tables left battling it out for spots in the top 8. So we're going to bring you some of those. We're going to be starting with Zach Thompson, who we saw last round lose to Max Hirsch at is now at 4-1-1. Playing against Jeff Hicks, also a 4-1-1 on Amulet Titan. So creativity against Titan is going to be our first matchup.
Who do you think's going to win that one? I think, honestly, I think the Titan deck is way favored.
Yeah, I would generally say, especially now with the Mycos and the Gardens as a new addition, the deck is just so much more explosive.
We haven't gotten to see that on camera yet, so I'm excited to watch that match.
Yeah, I think this is a tough pairing for Zach Thompson after losing a very close match last round to get here. But both these players at X1-1 normal is going to be a big sweat because we've had 3 tables draw. And we already had some people have draws, so we've got 13 people vying for these top 8 spots still at X1-1 or better. 6 of them have drawn. We could have 3 or 4 more win. So you're going to have 9 or 10 people at X1-1 or better after this round, which means like 1 or 2 people are going to miss on breakers.
Yeah, a couple heartbreakers coming at the end of this round. But the players are in the feature match area and ready to go. So let's go ahead and head on down to the match. We're going to be watching Creativity versus Amulet Titan. And I think Amulet Titan's going to win, but I'm rooting for Creativity. There's something about putting 2 Archons in play that just really does something to me.
What about putting 2 Primeval Titans?
Not as much, honestly. I've never really been a big Primetime fan, but...
I do see 3 copies of the Mycos and the Gardens in Hicks's list. Importantly, also 1 Pact of Negation in the main. That could end up being very important, potentially stopping a Creativity. If he just has a 1 Titan hand, 3 Azusa, 4 Dryad, 1 Cultivator Colossus, got the 4 Urza Sagas. So yeah, looks like a pretty stock list. Only the 1 Explorer. That's a card I've seen more of now that we have Mycos and the Gardens, giving you a lot more potential copies of Amulet of Vigor.
Yeah, so Zach Thompson does have quite a few ways to interact with Amulet, though. And I think that is the pressure point that you have to attack. You don't really have a lot of ways to make them their lands go away, and most of your ways to kill Primeval Titan are sorcery speed. But if you are able to destroy, Amulet with Wear Tear or get a Prismari command down on it, or if you're able to blow up those sagas somehow, I think that is the way that you can get ahead.
In the main deck, we got 3 Prismari command, 4 Leyline Binding in order to remove an Amulet, and you see a turn 1 Amulet of Vigor off a Saga from Hicks, so threatening to have a second Amulet on turn 3, potentially having a turn 3 kill. We'll see if Zach Thompson has that classic, double Triome into Leyline Binding opener. I do think I see a Leyline Binding in the hand there.
All right, Hicks looks like he's contemplating on what to do. A very complicated deck is Amulet Titan. A lot of tricky holding my land so that I get extra triggers off of Amulet of Vigor. Bounce lands doing bounce land things. And looks like he decided to forego playing an Arboreal Grazer for that exact reason.
Yeah, maybe waiting till next turn when he's got the second Amulet, using that as a super Lotus Petal.
All right, while we are doing the opening sequencing here, I want to shout out a couple things here. First off, 3 of the stores that are in the Apex Gaming Invitational Series did show up to Vin today. Titan Gaming, thanks to y'all for coming out from Pennsylvania. We got Clutch Gaming also, and Warpgate. I met the guys from Clutch Gaming earlier for the first time. Says he's a fan of me and is in my Patreon. That was kind of cool.
Well, you've got a lot of those.
Do I?
Yeah.
Compared to who? Oh, compared to you. Okay. But I do want to shout out just those 3 are here, but we did have a bunch of different shops, and I want to make sure. Obviously, the home store, Apex Gaming here in Caldwell, Ohio. Also, Total Gaming Experience. Thank y'all. The 4 Horsemen. The Castle Games. Thank y'all so much for being part of the Apex Gaming Invitational Series. Back Thompson's way, we're going to fetch Zyator's Proving Grounds. Let's see if we have an answer to the Amulet.
So Proving Ground suggests that we're not going to be casting a Leyline Binding.
Well,
could get a Sacred Foundry and cast it for 2 mana.
I mean, that's probably got to be what you do.
Just surprised if the binding was in a hand, why we wouldn't get a white triome there.
All right, we're going to float a mana off the Saga. We're going to use it and go get an Amulet. There aren't that many hits.
Yeah, second Amulet and a bounce land with the mana floating is 6 mana for a Primeval Titan. So we're getting pretty close, and now Thompson has a response. So
all right, so this is with Chapter 3 on the stack. A mana has been floated. Priority has been passed back, and now Thompson can react. He's going to go get Sacred Foundry and play the Leyline Binding. And he's going to target, guess what? Amulet of Vigor. These players here on the cusp of a top 8 berth. The winner likely going to squeak in. But as Ross said, there are multiple people in contention all the way up to around 10th or even maybe 11th place. So anyone who drew going to be sweating a little bit. And these players who are playing it out, even with the win, are not guaranteed a top 8 berth. This tournament has a $10,000 prize purse, with first place being $2,000. A lot on the line for these players, including bragging rights. Amulet of Vigor is the find. Force is the play for Jeff Hicks. Not that explosive thanks to the first Amulet getting knocked off. Back Thompson's way.
there's another Leyline Binding for Thompson. This is excellent for him. If you can keep the explosive potential down, then I like the creativity side. I don't think the Amulet Titan side is going to win a game where they just cast a Primeval Titan, trade it for some value, maybe cast another threat after that. That's the game that the creativity deck likes to play with Archon. But the Amulet deck just goes over the top with these really explosive combo turns.
All right. Well, this is actually a big bite for Zach Thompson. He didn't main phase the binding, and we have Mycosynth Gardens is the find. Now, I want to point out that Thompson has the binding and can cast it for 1 mana. Hicks going to go ahead and main phase activate the Gardens on the Amulet of Vigor and going to get blown out a little bit in response here.
Yeah, it responded. Leyline Binding on that Amulet will remove it as a legal target and counter that activated ability via state-based action.
All right. So right now I think they're just getting some rules clarification as Zach Thompson on what's going to happen in this situation. And as we explained, it's going to be all bad for Jeff Hicks. Gardens is going to stick as a Gardens, though. It does get countered. It does reset back to its original state, but that's 2 amulets down.
Yeah, and really looking at Hicks's list, there are 2 copies of Beseju in the main deck, so we can blow up these Leyline Bindings at some point and maybe get 1 or 2 of these amulets back.
All right, Hicks going to go ahead and Arboreal Grazer and ramp a little bit. This is going to put Talaria West onto the table. Had the option to play a bounce land, but trying to save those in case the Beseju gets to unlock an amulet. Those are really explosive with things like Dryad of Elysian Grove and Azusa, Lost but Seeking.
No action there from Thompson when he potentially could have found a Dwarven Mine and creativity into an Archon. So that probably tells Hicks that there is no creativity in Thompson's hand.
Yeah, all reactive stuff, it seems like. I see a pair of Lightning Bolts and a Spell Pierce.
Yeah, not great stuff for Thompson. So here is that Simic Growth Chamber. If Hicks can find another bounce land, you can see the Growth Chamber and Talaria West make a green, blue, blue. Then you could bounce the Talaria West and transmute it. Maybe find a Beseju, unlock one of these amulets, and go off to the races. But without any creativities, Hicks could just cast a Primeval Titan and win that way.
That's what I'm thinking too. And these Arboreal Grazers can actually just provide a good bit of defense. I don't even know that Hicks has access to a Primeval Titan right this moment, outside of the Talaria West getting bounced and going to get a Summoner's Pact. Second Arboreal Grazer could insulate Hicks from 1 Archon pretty easily. Found a Dwarven Mine. This Ren and 6 is a little off screen. Maybe we can get them to move it onto the screen a little bit better. Finds Arid Mesa. It's up to 6. Threatening Ultimate in a little while. That might ultimately end up giving them the ability to win via Lightning Bolt damage.
If Hicks continues playing slow and doesn't have much going on, you might even see Thompson wait to get that Ren to 8 before ultimating. Then you can turn it into a card advantage engine with the retrace.
All right, well, here's a float of 2 blue and a green, and we're going to bounce Talaria West with, I believe that's the Selesnya Sanctuary. Then we're going to transmute Talaria West. Likely going to go get Summoner's Pact. We already have Pact of Negation in hand.
But still, yeah. There's the Summoner's Pact. Gonna need to wait till next turn for that. So we've got a Titan threatened for next turn for Jeff Hicks. And the question is, how does Zach Thompson want to prepare for that?
Now, I don't think we have enough to go Titan, Summoner's Pact, and pay for Summoner's Pact and Pact of Negation. So I'm curious how the next few turns are going to play out. But it looks like Hicks is just going to go full ramp mode. We're just playing all of our lands as quickly as we can now.
Yeah, there's another bounce end. So that leaves Hicks on 8 mana here, or no, 7 mana here, because the Talaria West is in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Can play up to 8 with a land drop next turn. So yeah, if he does force through the Primeval Titan with, or protect it with a Pact of Negation, the Primeval Titan is going to find 2 more mana. So that'll get you to 10.
Yeah, there are
two packs together in 9.
There are 2 bolts in Thompson's hand though, so the Titan gonna go get 2 lands, but then probably bite the dust. Yeah. I think that Wrenn and 6 is gonna get the ultimate off, and we're just gonna see can Hicks beat a Wrenn and 6 ultimate. It might be pretty tough to do.
Yeah. We could see Jeff Hicks get second Talaria West. There's 2 in the list, and another Simic Growth Chamber.
Sure.
Bounce the Talaria West. Still have 9 mana left on the battlefield, enough to pay for both packs, and then be set up to transmute for another Summoner's Pact for another Primeval Titan later on.
All right, we're going to pass back. Wrenn and 6 is on 7 loyalty. Our hand is 2 bolts of persist and some stuff. Hicks has Summoner's Pact we know of, has Pact of Negation we know of, a couple lands. Can go for a Titan here. Not a whole lot of like actual counter spells from Thompson's side of things. Right now, these deck lists are closed though, and I know that some of these 4-color creativity decks have been playing Mana Leak. So perhaps Hicks is aware of Mana Leak since he only has access to 8 mana once he plays the land.
No Mana Leaks for Thompson.
No, but it might just be reason enough for Jeff to wait one more turn if he has the 9th mana source. Just don't know. I don't know. You can't just sit is all I know. Here we go. Summoner's Pact. We're gonna Spell Pierce it. Interesting. We have the ability to pay. We're definitely gonna pay, and we can still Primeval Titan.
But not much value from that Pierce, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, nothing really to target in the deck other than the packs and amulets, right? The deck is roughly 38 lands and 14 spells, and they all ramp or get Primeval Titan.
Here's the forest that was bounced last turn, and finally Primeval Titan.
All right, it only took 19 turns.
Okay, now we see what does Jeff Hicks search for. No amulets on the battlefield for him, so can't go for the typical Slayer Stronghold, Boros Garrison to give haste.
This looks like a Saga game.
I don't think we see 2 blue mana on the battlefield, so might want to secure another blue mana to turn on the Pact of Negation in hand.
Okay.
Because I believe that's 2 Celestian Sanctuaries and a Simic Growth Chamber as the 3 bounce lands.
Well, we're thumbing a Boseiju, and putting the Boseiju into play allows you to return it to hand with a bounce land, potentially unlock your Amulet of Vigor next turn. But I don't think that Hicks has a follow-up should this Primeval Titan die. So with these 2 bolts from Thompson, the ultimate from Wrenn and 6, we might actually just see like a pretty clean couple turns here for Thompson where he's able to easily defeat this Plan B.
Yeah, and there's only 2 Talaria Wests in the deck, so the chain stops after this next T West for Jeff Hicks.
Well, we do have Pact of Negation that we can use to target the 2nd Lightning Bolt, and that'll save our Primeval Titan. We will be forced to pay for both packs next turn. We have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I believe Negation costs 5 and Summoners cost 4, so this is an option, and looks like we're going to take it.
Yep.
All right, 2nd Lightning Bolt's countered. And now Thompson needs a 3rd Lightning Bolt or a Spell Pierce. Maybe biting himself for... Oh, I guess the Spell Pierce has already been paid for, so...
Yeah. Not much Zach Thompson could have done there. And the good news for Jeff Hicks also is got these Grazers sitting around, so you're not as afraid of an Archon of Cruelty here. It's right. You'll at least keep your Primeval Titan around.
All right, gonna fetch up a Ketria Triome. I feel like you should be getting Dwarves just in case you draw Creativity. You want to be able to Creativity for more than X equals 1. And with no Dwarves and no fetches in play, even a Creativity off the top, like you said, it's not that scary. It's only eating a Grazer.
Yeah. And I think there was a fetch land drawn for Zach Thompson at Wooded Foothills.
All right. Ren Ultimate with Lightning Bolt in the yard. Do we have 2 lands to discard? If we do, Primeval Titan can be killed, and the entire turn will be spent paying for the 2 packs.
But then there's immediately a Primeval Titan on the following turn. So far from out of the woods for Thompson, but definitely staying afloat here.
Yep. Now, ideally, Thompson would have another Ren and 6 there, so he could start getting the lands back to continually fuel the emblem. But without it, you know, maybe that's it. Maybe we're out of juice. Hicks pays for both.
Yep. Lines it up to make it easy. And yeah, it has a forest here. So the hand is Teleria West, and not sure on the
Definitely
other two.
Definitely Beseiju too from the pickup last turn.
Beseiju can set us up with an amulet for our Titan for next turn. Oh, that is another Leyline Binding.
Yeah, it's tough. All right, Hicks not going to go for the Beseiju there. Draws a Saga. That's a nice pickup and a dry board. See what he decides to play.
Well, I imagine it will be Summoner's Pact. Though, with a couple lands in hand, could go for the Cultivator Colossus here. There is one in Hicks's list.
It might be necessary because it doesn't really, you know, it's not that hard to kill a Primeval Titan, and the value it leaves behind is obviously good, but Cultivator Colossus kind of just goes bananas sometimes. All right, we're going to tutor for Summoner's Pact. Let's see if Thompson has any interaction. If he has land in hand, he can Spell Pierce it for 2. And that'll turn off Cultivator Colossus, I believe. But a land turns on Primeval Titan, so probably doesn't want to do that again. Same exact thing.
Yeah. Hicks should have green floating right now. So we'll have enough to Primeval Titan even through a Spell Pierce. It's a Titan or a Colossus? I think that's a Titan.
Yeah, going to go for a Titan. And that's going to allow him to essentially keep repeating this same sequence of go get Teleria West, blah, blah, blah.
No more Teleria West in the deck.
Oh, only 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 was the standard for a very long time, but it's in recent years with all these cool lands they've gotten, they've had to trim down to 2 Teleria West.
Well, you kind of get more virtual Primeval Titans anyway because Cultivator Colossus hard casting is just bananas.
Okay.
Here comes prime time. Let's go get 2 lands, probably another Saga.
We still have a mana floating, right? Because we tapped the 2 growth chambers for the Teleria West. Should have left a green, and now we've tapped 6 for the Titan.
I don't know, man. All right, well, Thompson, looking at this Primeval Titan, curious what he wants to do. Gonna let it just resolve. Knows about the Beseiju and Jeff Hicks's hand from an earlier bounce land. Looks like we're gonna go get, is that Bajuka Bog? Main deck Bajuka Bog? It's gonna make the red emblem a little bit worse.
That's not bad.
Looks like the other land's going to be a Valakut, maybe preemptively hoping to draw a Dryad of Elysian Grove. If there's another Saga in the deck, I feel like a second Saga is superior to the Valakut. Mostly you just don't have lands in hand to just do the Valakut triggers. Even if you do draw the Dryad. Maybe he has a bounce land hiding out that he's been holding for this exact moment.
It does help juice the top of your deck, though.
Okay.
You know, making your Dryads into good draws
Sure, that's
is
fair.
valuable.
All right.
Okay.
Graveyard gone.
Yeah. And yeah, this Beseiju looking really good. You could even let the Leyline Binding trigger resolve Beseiju and get yourself another Primeval Titan trigger out of it.
Now, Thompson does have that binding in hand. Was really tanking on it. But if he targets the Primeval Titan, it's just going to get 2 more lands because the Beseiju is going to unlock it. I think at this point, Hicks has consigned himself to just not having the Amulet in play ever. And I would not bother blowing up the bindings on either Amulet unless I was guaranteed to kill and my opponent was tapped out.
Yeah, we've gone past the point where explosive turns are what's relevant. It's just about grinding through all of the disruption.
4 mines to play. It's going to make a dwarf. Now, we drew Prismari Command for the turn. We can go loot, make a treasure, and if we find the creativity, we can get 2 Archons.
1 short of doing that this turn. 7 mana.
Good call. decides to pass back. I wonder what the play is going to be. This is kind of scary.
Yeah, Hicks pays for the pact. Saga to chapter 2. And things looking pretty good for our Amulet Titan player. Had a stumble in the middle of this tournament after starting 3-0. Looking to recover, win the last 2, and punch his ticket into our top 8. Reminder, this is the 3rd place player on your Season 2 leaderboard, Jeff Hicks. So has been putting up very good results throughout the last several months on the Apex Invitational Series. But this is the tournament to have your best result. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to let the ley line resolve, and then we're going to blow it up with the Boseiju. That's going to get the Titan back, 2 more lands, but can't attack, so you don't take the 6 damage.
Okay, we
Thompson
can find
also gets a land.
We can find a Dwarven Mine.
We sure can. That's pretty good.
Instead goes for a Blood Crypt. That is the 2nd black source. So now a top decked Archon can be hardcast.
Okay.
And what 2 lands does Hicks want to get now?
Well, another Saga seems fine. Another Boseiju is okay if you draw a bounce land or drew a bounce land.
Yeah, that would play around the 4th Leyline Binding.
Right. I know it's not Grove of the Burn Willows, but it kind of looks like Grove.
It looks like Gruul Turf and
Red White Duel or Red White bounce
and
land.
Garrison.
Yeah. Was there like a secret lair bounce lands or something? Why are there just alternate art bounce lands now from Dom Remastered?
I don't know.
You sound so defeated when you said that.
Hicks returns 2 more bounce lands with those bounce lands, so just trying to set himself up, I think, for a Dryad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dryad. That's so. All right. What's this? 7 mana. Is this Cultivated Colossus? Oh, we're going Ham Sandwich.
Oh baby.
Ooh. Ooh. What we got? These spell piercers are looking pretty bad in this matchup. Like I said, a lot of that disruption is just like not super good in this spot.
Okay. That's a 2nd land. How about a 3rd one?
Have you ever done one of these with only 1 card in hand and just hit like 7 in a row or whatever?
Is that it? Did the chain stop?
I guess. No more lands in hand, so it's done. And now it has to bounce 2 lands back to hand. My guess, Bajuka Bog, and maybe a bounce land to use as like a machine gun if you draw the Dryad.
Yeah, you got to leave a bounce land in your hand.
All right. It's probably going to be it. Ooh, colorless mana. Another Amulet of Vigor.
So that's what we found that stopped the chain.
All right, pass back Thompson's way. Prismari Command. Now, this is a pretty big draw step. Thompson's going to get 2 draws and a treasure. Ooh, Shatter and draw 2. Okay.
That's the 2nd persist. Still haven't found an Archon.
Yeah, but with the Ren Emblem, can play the Prismari Command again with a land out of the graveyard. I guess didn't have another land or just forgot about the Ren Emblem. Another Prismari Command sounded pretty good there, honestly, just because of how weak the hand is and how dire the straits are.
Yeah, Thompson's been digging for his namesake card. Hasn't found it through quite a bit of his deck.
All right, well, we got to untap with a lot of mana. See if Thompson can find it. Dwarf Mine.
Decides to get a Dwarf instead of persisting a Prismari Command. Retracing, I should say. And we've got 2 cards left. Oh, is this an hardcast
Archon? Archon? I guess we drew Archon for the turn. Nice. Archon's going to eat one of the Arboreal Grazers. No harm, no foul. We discard one of these dead ones. Probably Azusa. Decides to go for the Forest. Another creature can be sacrificed. That's good.
Yeah, the Forest not doing a whole lot here. Because if you draw a Dryad, you can just use bounce lands over and over again. 1 bounce land is enough to max that card out. Oh yeah, accidentally revealing the Spell Pierce, so it's very relevant here.
All right, draw from Jeff X. We're going to trigger Saga. See what we activate.
So there is 1 expedition map to be able to find here. That might be better than the 4th Amulet. So that could get you Boseiju to play around 4th Leyline Binding. It could get you...
I like getting another Boseiju. That seems cool.
Don't think there's an Ottawar to bounce the Archon. Yeah.
There's so many cool lands you can play in Amulet Titan now, man.
You could just get the Sun home so that Archon can't trade with Primeval Titan. Because that trade is pretty good for Thompson with the Persists in the graveyard and the Ren emblem. Any land will let him just rebuy the Archon.
Yep. So it looks like we're going to float a mana. Go get Expedition Map.
Don't need to shuffle if you're going to immediately pop the map. Just shortcut.
Well, they still got 26.5 minutes left. Well, of course they don't need to shortcut. That's a million years. Just kidding.
If this map gets immediately popped, he should be DQ'd on the spot.
I don't think either player is rooting for a draw here. Draw eliminates both of them. We're going to...
Ooh, okay. Wants to copy it first. Okay, no DQ. Right. Took an action first.
Does it untap?
Yeah, the garden should be tapped, I believe.
All right, we'll get a look at the text on it, but I'm pretty sure it taps to activate, right? And so...
X tap becomes a copy of target non-token artifact you control the mana value X. Yeah, the garden's copy should still be tapped.
All right, we'll get our spotter on it so we can make sure that that doesn't end up being a problem. So far, it has not been a problem. I have no idea what land that is. Yeah, so Market Sin's Garden is this really cool new land. They can copy any of your artifacts, and you have so much mana. Tutoring these up lets you not only copy the Expedition Map, which we did, but it also lets you... All right, well, I'm going to go stop.
Yeah.
All right, be right back.
Oh, I think they're being stopped by the table spotter.
Cool.
You're already on top of it, Todd.
Look, I just don't want any detrimental game actions to be taken, so... Even though it becomes a copy, it doesn't leave play and come back. It's just a tapped copy. You have to tap it to activate it. So, all right. And then, of course, we'll untap the Selesnya Sanctuary. And then Jeff Hicks will basically have whatever land he grabbed and whatever is in hand to play the rest of the turn.
Yeah.
Neither player here really playing with a sense of urgency. Like I said, drawing is lights out for both. So we need to have a winner.
Fortunately, both of these decks also capable of winning very quickly.
Yes, that's true. All right. Well, curious if they're being paused by the judge or Jeff is just thinking about what to do for the rest of the turn. But the garden should be tapped. Oh, there's been a head judge called over. I think maybe an appeal or something. I'm not sure. So we're going to probably add some time to their clock. So whatever this clock says, we'll get it updated once the judge lets us know how much time is supposed to be added. All right. Thompson, desperate here, but essentially shields down. Accidentally showed a Spell Pierce. But not that overwhelming. Hicks has already cracked one Expedition Map to go get something. It's hard to tell. It's like a blacked out land. What lands could it be? Can you pull up the list real quick? I want to know if there's any land that I'm just missing that could be useful in this situation.
It's pretty typical stuff. There's a Sunhome, a Slayer Stronghold. There's a second Valakut. It could be Vesuva.
It might be Vesuva. That makes a lot of sense. All right, so players are back. We're going to be playing... I don't know what this is. Ross, help me. What do you think this is? Explore?
This is probably the one Explorer in the main deck.
Okay. You may think, wow, Tandy, you don't know what any of these cards are. Well, I got news for you. No one does. I know so many Magic cards by their art. And there's too many arts now. It's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah. 20 years ago, if you put your Explorer in front, cast it, drew your card, and then put the Explorer in the graveyard, you're not putting a land. I guess it says you can play an extra land this turn.
All right, so that's the land he just got. Can you figure out what that land is on the far right?
I think that is Slayer's Stronghold.
Okay, cool. Don't look red or white to me.
I'm going based off of the text box of the title.
Okay.
So,
All right, so we're going to cast Azusa, Lost but Seeking.
It's an interesting one to me because it does not stop the Archon from trading for the Primeval Titan. Okay, but we do have a Bog now, so that's going to eliminate any persist action with Retrace.
But we also can get Vigilance. Maybe that matters somewhat. All right.
We just want to give haste to our Cultivated Colossus. So
well, it's been in play for a turn.
Yeah.
So we just want
to make that big.
Pump it in Vig. Maybe it has Reach. Cultivated Colossus have Reach. It has a lot of text on it. I'm guessing it has Reach. Titan going to come in. We're going to go get every land in the deck. Every land in the deck is going to be on the table by the end of this game.
It's just a big trampler. So how many? We've got
all right. Well,
3, 4, 5, 6, 9. I want to say 13 lands. So this is a 15 power attacker.
Nice.
That does allow Zach Thompson to block with the 2 dwarves.
Yeah, but it forces the block with the Archon too. This is just too much damage.
Oh, and there's the Primeval Titan. Yeah. So this is forcing the Archon to block.
Yeah.
Might be there might be another land under there.
Now, the Micas of the Garden is no longer a land. It's a copy of
Yes.
Exposition Map. It says 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 21, minus 6, 7, 8 is 13. So we're going to go to 1 exactly.
Yep. Looks like Zach Thompson will be losing all his creatures and going to 1 life.
I wonder if we would have won if we gave Azusa haste.
Because then a 1/1 can block Azusa and soak up 3 damage.
All right.
But
Back
not sure what
Thompson's
Thompson
way.
can draw here.
Paxman.
Okay, game 1 to Jeff Hicks, a very long one.
All right. While we're between games, I'm going to talk to my director real quick. I just want to make sure that they get their time extension. All right, cool. All right, so they get an extra 3 minutes. So whatever the clock comes back, that'll probably be right and reflect how much time's actually on the clock. These players are playing for a top 8 berth. Awesome. All right,
Okay.
cool. Thank you so much.
So gonna look at these players' sideboards. Jeffrey Hicks, we got 1 Tyrannax Rex, 1 Thrun Breaker of Silence, 2 Tireless Tracker, 3 Endurance, 3 Force of Vigor, 3 Dismember, 1 Besage Who Endures to complement the 2 in the main deck, and 1 Cavern of Souls to complement the 2 in the main deck. Not a lot I really like here. I think the third Besager is relevant because of those leyline bindings.
Absolutely.
Dismember I don't think is relevant enough because it doesn't answer an Archon on the battlefield. Nor will like Force of Vigor if you think maybe I can, beat a creativity where they target only artifacts.
Yeah,
it's just not worth it to bring in cards like that.
I do think Force is okay. It's just more stuff to disenchant, and it seems like one of his easiest ways to kill Amulet is with Leyline. And if you go like EOT, blow it up, untap, kill you, but you also have the ability to kill a Saga. You have the ability to kill a treasure token. Like it has merit.
It has, we might see some come in, but if I'm Jeff Hicks, I don't want to cut into my main game plan that much.
I don't want a Boreal Grazer in my deck. It doesn't do anything.
Grazer's great.
Grazer is a... Look, it's called Blocks Diamond, okay?
It's called Unbeatable Grazer for a reason.
But it's only unbeatable Grazer when it's staring at a Ragavan. Then it's an unbeatable Grazer.
Yeah. Well,
imagine.
I think for Hicks, we saw him win this game 1, but I think that's largely because Thompson took forever to find an Archon to be able to put onto the battlefield.
And never drew a creativity in 25 draws or whatever.
I think in most games, Hicks is going to have to come out of the gates quickly to win these games. So I like sort of staying with the main deck configuration mostly. On Zach Thompson's side, we've got 1 Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, 2 Wear Tear, 2 Hallowed Moonlight, 2 Flusterstorm, 3 Veil of Summer, 3 Leyline of Sanctity, and 2 Besage Who Endures. I like the Besages and the Wear Tears, more answers to Dryads and Amulets.
And Saga.
And Saga, yeah. All good targets, so I like them. I like more disenchant effects. Nothing else particularly good. I don't like Flusterstorm, Hallowed Moonlight. I know that game went on forever, but you still wouldn't have been able to cast an Emrakul. Though, maybe this is a matchup where you want to creativity into Emrakul.
Ooh, maybe.
Go way over the top. I could see that.
I do think the Archons are rather weak in the face of, are they still playing Colony Garden and stuff? Like, do they have ways to play around Archon other than Blocks Diamond?
No Colony Garden.
Okay, so maybe leave in the Grazers just because they're Edict fodder. I don't know, but I don't know. We'll see.
So the issue with Zach Thompson trying to board into just a straight Emrakul combo deck would be he'd have to bring out the Persists. Taking out 4 Archon, 2 Persist, you really only have the 5 cards you want to bring in, and 2 Wear Tear, 2 Besage, and an Emrakul. So you'd have to bring in something like Hallowed Moonlight just as a cycler or a Flusterstorm. to make it work.
Yeah, no thanks.
Think I'll probably stick with the normal game plan. Archon is plenty powerful.
Yeah, I'll just get some spell piercers out of my deck or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't
Some
really like the
lightning
spell
bolts.
pierces.
Get the bolts out. Get the pierces out. Get in
I mean,
a bunch of
there's 4 bolts and 4 pierces, so I think Thompson's gonna have a hard time getting all the weak cards out of his deck.
Maybe he keeps bolts. Combo 2 bolts is like okay against Titan. It's just you just need to stall them, right? And
Yeah.
he was so close to stalling that game. I think the punt honestly came from just not casting another Prismari command. I think he could have easily gone Prismari command 2, make a treasure off of it, look for creativity, and I think 3 Archons might have been enough to clear, but maybe not.
We'll provide one update as we start this game. Terry Gus, one of our X11s on Rakdos Scam, losing to Jonathan Parker on Azorius Control. So that
John
will
Parker!
officially end Terry Gus's tournament.
All right, well, we're off to the races here. Zach with the Arid Mesa. Hicks's way goes turn 1 Saga plus Amulet. An ideal start if I've ever seen one. We'll see if
That's
Zach
what he had
has
in
any
game 1
answer.
too.
Yeah, and he won. He literally had it and won.
Could go Mike is in the Gardens next turn. Copy Amulet, I think the third one.
How do you beat 3? Engineer explosives on 1?
Yeah, unfortunately, the creativity deck can't play Engineered Explosives.
Oh, that's right, because of creativity's weird.
Yeah.
All right, come on, get your Zythorias.
Okay, going for the non-white Triome again. That's a good sign if you're Jeff Hicks. It means that you're unlikely to get Leyline Binding to your...
Yeah, I could just have the Sacred Founder in hand and just doing the same thing as last turn now, or last game.
Yeah, I do see a Leyline Binding.
Or just needs access to the black mana for various things and can't afford to go get white right now.
It's a Steam Vent, so no white mana. Okay.
All right.
Zach Thompson prioritizing getting this Ren down so he can make his land drops.
All right, Saga ticks up to 2. Is this another Amulet? Okay, we might be going gangbusters here. Let's see what happens. Hicks.
That's a bounce land.
All right, we're going to float 4 mana. If this is a Zusa, we are tightening this turn. That's a Zusa.
Yep.
We got 2 more land drops. That's 8 more mana.
So that gets us to 9. If there's a Titan in hand, this game should be over. So we can now Titan with 3 floating, get Simic Growth Chamber and Polaria West, make 6 more mana, bounce the Polaria West, transmute that with 6 mana left, get a Summoner's Pact, play another Primeval Titan. Now I can find Boris Garrison and Slayer's Stronghold, untap it twice, give both Titans haste, attack with 2 8/6 Vigilance Tramplers, then find Vesuva and Sunhome, copy the Boris Garrison with the Vesuva, untap it twice, make red, red, white, white, use the Sunhome to give one of them double strike. Now you got 24 damage coming across on turn 2.
You know, sometimes I forget that you used to play that deck. And now that I remember, I think, this is how he knows, because no one else could possibly know. It's too much, too much. Anyway, shout out to Jeff Hicks taking that match down. He has 8 top finishes on the Apex Gaming Invitational Series. His conversion rate is astronomical, 72.7% of the events he played. Let's see, what's that? 8 out of
11.
11? Nice. You got to let me try. I know you know. And he's an Amulet Chad, self-proclaimed Amulet Chad. Well, he did it right there. He really did some real Amulet stuff.
But showed you the 2 sides of it, right? He won game 1 in 25 minutes and won game 2 in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. Was that the turn 2 kill?
It was.
Great.
Now, and without Midas in the Gardens. But with Gardens, these decks get a lot more of them. You can go Gardens into Amulet, and the next turn play Bounce Land, untap, copy, have 1 mana, Arboreal Grazer, and go from there.
Wow, that's interesting stuff, man.
That's why it's Unbeatable Grazer.
Unbeatable Grazer. Look, I like calling it Block Simon, but Unbeatable Grazer is growing on me. I'll say that. So,